Tired of feeling tired? Done with diet culture? Overwhelmed by conflicting nutrition and fitness messages? Then join us, your hosts of the Nutrition Revolution podcast, as we take a deep dive into all things women's fitness and nutrition. I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Tabitha. And together we are debunking diet culture myths and giving you the tools you need to finally see the results you're looking for. It's time to revolutionize your nutrition and training.
Welcome back to another episode. Today we are going to talk about giving it everything or not doing it at all, right?
Yeah,
like that all or nothing mindset, right?
Mm-hmm.
This one was a big one for me because I remember people would be like, just eat in moderation and you're fine. You can have a little bit of whatever you want. And, you know, you don't have to eliminate all of these foods, especially when I started doing like the paleo lifestyle. They're like, you can't eliminate all these foods. That's dangerous. You know, you're getting rid of dairy and you're getting rid of bread and you have to have that. And I was like, but my brain actually works really well with that because I can't do things in moderation. If I start eating some chocolate, I'm eating all of the chocolate.
That was then.
In that time frame. Like I'm eating all of the chocolate for the next 6 years. Like I can't stop. Like there's no stop. So my brain, I had to be nothing. And it had to be very strict and very calculated because I thought that I couldn't control it. Turns out
you can.
I can.
And you really should. It's way more freeing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can eat stuff now and I'm like, I just had a teaspoon or a tablespoon of chocolate chips instead of the entire bag. You know, and it's funny now in this time where I'm like, I can have a couple bites of something. Like my kids made cake yesterday and I didn't actually want to eat the cake, but they made it. So Mom, like, you gotta make it. You gotta try it out. And they're like, do you want a whole piece? And I was like, no, but I would love to try a bite for right now. And then when I do want some, I'll grab some later. And so I like took a forkful and had a bite and it was really good. And I was like, oh, that actually is really good. But that was all I wanted. Like I didn't want any more. Old me, I would have had that forkful and then another forkful and then another forkful. And then next thing you know, I'm like eating half the cake off the thing.
But the key is you said earlier, I'm going to have a bite now and then I'll have some later when I want it. So that's like the opposite of the all or nothing mentality.
Mindset shift of
it is. It takes a lot of work.
I think that
to get there.
Yeah. And removing shame and guilt around food, shame and guilt around being a human who enjoys sweets.
Enjoys food.
There's nothing wrong with me. I'm allowed to enjoy sweets. Removing
it's actually really
that,
normal to like food and to look forward to certain foods and enjoy them.
Yeah. Removing that shame and guilt was helpful because I don't look at food anymore as good food or bad food. It's like, if I want that, I'm going to have it. If I don't want it, then I'm not going to have it within the boundaries of like, I know what sets off autoimmune or whatever
and what
triggers my body and hurts me
to help you feel great and energized. And I have a very similar kind of journey. I was very all or nothing for a very long time. That was the mentality that was like modeled for me too growing up, which in defense, my parents, like great parents, love them. This was the 80s and the 90s, baby. It was all or nothing. It was the low fat, low carb, high sugar craze of we're like adding in sugar and artificial sweeteners and
skinny
over goal. Everything. And it was like, you either eat all the things or eat none of it. And it was that pendulum would swing one extreme to the other. And that was just what I think adults did at that time. And that's what I saw. And that's kind of what I adopted. And I remember in college when I had like gotten serious about my health because I had put on weight and just wasn't feeling good at all. No energy. Was my go-to where it was like through the week, I was so good. Right. And then on the weekend, it's like YOLO.
Yeah.
Eating all the things, doing all the stuff, like doing a lot of damage there in just a short little time frame and then swing that pendulum the other way come Monday morning.
I was bad. I got to get back on track.
Yes. Like, I have to atone for the weekend. And that followed me, till my like mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
And I remember the moment where I'm like, I can't live like this. Like why this is like, it is a form of disordered eating.
Oh, for sure.
It's not an eating disorder, but it's disordered eating.
It is not functioning behavior.
And I feel like the majority, a lot of American adults struggle with this.
Yes.
Where anything goes on the weekends, through the week, we're going to atone for it.
It's because the weekends are vacation.
And if we want to lose weight, I've heard this from clients. I did a consult with someone recently, and he was like, I have a weight loss goal, and I'm not going to eat or drink alcohol until I reach that goal. And I was like, okay, that's respectable. And I appreciate that you have a goal. But then when you reach that weight, that number that you're attached to, and then you start drinking alcohol again and eating your cheesesteaks and all the things that like you're giving up right now, like you're going to feel out of control. It's going to feel like a binge type drive. And then it won't be that long. You're going to fall completely back into those old unhealthy habits, and the weight will come back on, and then the cycle repeats itself. And I feel like that probably resonates with anyone listening, right?
Yeah.
The goal has to become retraining your brain to not think of it as all or nothing, to think of it in an abundance, in a moderated abundance of like, I can have these things on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or any time.
Right.
Right. But how do I balance it? How do I work it in, not view it as all or nothing?
Yeah. Yeah. So what are some of the strategies that you feel like helped you, or that maybe you give your clients to work through that?
The first thing that helped me and that I started doing when I came across like some intuitive eating strategies and help was retraining my brain to view food as something that's positive, that's not good or bad, and that doesn't have to be earned. So viewing food through a different lens. And that really, until I started doing that and I got good at that, better at that, the ability to moderate myself and talk myself through the all or nothing episodes that I, like moments where I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling like it's 5 donuts or no donuts. Right. Until I got to that point. And then being willing to like listen to my body about how it feels and what is it actually needing, and let me give it the nutrients it needs first before the donut.
Right.
Yeah. It wasn't until then that I noticed I was like making progress in getting out of that all or nothing mindset. But for the record, it took years.
Yeah, it is not an overnight or a 4-week plan.
With my clients, we start with trying to journal and talk about like how do you feel about food? What is your relationship with it? And some people might like scoff and be like, oh, your relationship with food. And it's like, okay, great. That's good for you that maybe you don't even
know that's a thing.
But like, it is a thing. How do you view it? Through what lens do you view it? How do you think about it?
Right.
What power do you give it? And we got to start by first acknowledging that before we can unlearn, learn new habits and get to a better place.
Yeah. And I think for me, that food relationship in my brain, because I started this disordered eating journey so young, in my head, all food was dangerous.
Yes.
All food made me fat.
Had to constantly be earned.
Yeah. And then like everything I ate, it didn't matter. I could eat a bowl of broccoli and I would gain weight. I could eat a whole bag of Oreos and gain weight. Like it didn't matter. Any food, I could sniff a chocolate bar and gain weight. Like that's just how it felt for me.
Okay.
And so it wasn't until I was in my 20s, mid 20s, that I did the elimination diet kind of stuff and realized it wasn't necessarily the food that was the problem as a whole. It was the types of food that I was eating that were causing inflammatory responses, things like that. That's a different topic. In that moment, for me, I realized all this time I've been so negative towards food, but actually I needed food to heal. I needed food for nutrients. And then it was the education side of like, oh, like vitamins and minerals and fiber and proteins, like they all have a place and a role in my body. And so that food education side was like mind blowing to me, because in my brain it was like, oh, food for me was just always skinny or fat. Like that's all I saw food for. And so having that education was that major flip of like, there is a role for food in your body and here's how you do it. So having that, you said nutrients first, eating those good foods that provide you with the nutrients, provide your body with the healthy things that it needs. And then if you're still hungry, having a treat or whatever you want to have after that, that was a major change for me.
Yeah. For me, a big shift was giving myself permission to go out to dinner and kind of order what I wanted off the menu on a Wednesday night. That like, I didn't have to just save that for Saturday. So like if I really wasn't in the mood, because again, at that time for me, I thought healthy eating out was salad with protein, right? Healthy eating, packing my lunch for work was like tuna salad or hard-boiled eggs over a bed of spinach and an apple,
Yeah.
you know? And
Right.
I'm like, gee, I'm wondering why I'm so hungry at 3
and
o'clock
exhausted
every day. And yeah, exactly. I just
Craving
wanna
chocolate
lay down
right
on
away.
under my desk and take a nap.
Yeah.
So getting to that turning point where like, I was like, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to order the steak and potato and have a dinner roll and get a veggie on the side and like eat until I'm actually full and satisfied. And then tell myself, I can have this meal again.
Yeah.
I can have pizza on a Thursday.
Right. So what I'm hearing is the scarcity mindset.
Yes.
Right. So we have this
all or nothing
idea
or scarcity.
Right. We have this idea that, especially I see it a lot on holidays, like Aunt Susie only makes these rolls for Christmas. So I've got to eat all the rolls right now.
Yeah. Or they're going to be gone for a whole year.
And like eating out can only happen on vacation or whatever. But when we give ourselves permission to enjoy foods and enjoy things that we want to have rather than shoving it down and being like, no, I don't want it. No, I can't have it. Having that terminology, I can't have it, is incredibly dangerous because it makes our brain think bad.
It makes our brain go, oh, wait, we can't have that. Okay, but now we want it.
Right.
And we want it and we want it and we want it.
Yeah.
And we
It's like
want
when
it all
you're
the
like,
time.
I've been eating really, really well. And then as soon as I called it a diet, now I'm just like sabotaging.
Yes.
Because your brain knows, like your brain has that functionality of like telling our gut what we actually want now because we can't have it. So having that scarcity mindset is going to cause you to be all or nothing because, you know, you're going to eat all of the Halloween candy at Halloween because it's Halloween candy, right? So it's, I'm allowed to have it because it's Halloween, or I'm allowed to do this because it's my birthday. I'm allowed to. And so having those strict boundaries and rules of like, I can only do this when, is creating that scarcity mindset.
And it disables your ability to regulate your intake. So then on your birthday, it's not a piece of cake, it's the whole freaking cake or half the cake or
but one bite at a time.
or 3 pieces of it. Like whatever, to the point where you're like, oh, I'm like really sick and full and I feel disgusting. And now I have a headache.
Right.
Or I'm not going to sleep well. That's the all or nothing there. You have to address that first.
I remember like there was this dish that friends of ours would make. It was called Texas sheet cake, and it was like brownies with like peanut butter and like chocolate frosting. And I remember as like a teenager, like 12, 13, eating like a little sliver at a time. Anytime I'd walk through the kitchen, I had another little sliver. I didn't have a piece of it. I just had little slivers. But like in reality, I probably ate way more
20 little
of the
slivers added up to.
But in my brain, that was how I did it because.
So a strategy there, if someone's listening and feels like, oh my gosh, I do that too. And the next thing I know, I've actually eaten a quarter of the sheet cake, whatever.
Yeah.
Give yourself permission to have a regular size piece.
Cut yourself a dang
Not
piece.
a little mini microscopic little nibble. Like, what is that? Give yourself permission, sit with it, eat it, enjoy it, notice the textures and the flavors, and then tell yourself, I'm allowed to have more of this.
Yeah.
Period. Full stop. And you will find over time that you are able to then moderate based on how you feel. Like, okay, I'm full, so I don't need any more. And this isn't scarcity. This isn't, you know, the friend's sheet cake that's come around and won't be around again, and this is bad, and I shouldn't be having it. This is feeling under control around it.
Yeah, because if you're eating one little slice at a time, you're probably sneaking it.
Yeah.
So you don't want anyone to see it.
Yeah.
Also, you're inhaling it, so you're not actually
Noticing
allowing your
the
body to
flavors.
notice flavors and notice textures and allowing your body to digest like, oh, this is something good and it's enjoyable. Where if you cut yourself a piece and you sit down and you actually eat it while you're talking and hanging out with friends, you might realize like, this is really rich and like my body is like, that is enough. And you've only eaten half of the slice rather than quick little slivers of the whole thing over time.
Yeah, I think that is really key to overcoming the all or nothing mindset. So I often hear a lot of criticism around intuitive eating where it's like, okay, but I have a weight loss goal or a body recomp goal, so I can't go around eating pieces of the cake, or I don't want to because of my goal. And intuitive eating, where it's like, listen to your body. And that means that like, okay, well, I'm listening to my body, and my body's telling me I want donuts and cookies and pizza and hot wings.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's a simplification, and also just a incorrect understanding of what intuitive eating. It is not treat your body like a garbage disposal because that's what you want. It is learning to listen to your body's innate intelligence, follow those cues, and then honor them without the restriction that you're putting in place, that this is bad and I can't do this.
Yeah. And let's be honest, there's a difference between intuitive eating foods that we know make us feel good, and then having like some sort of fun food that you want to eat, like something that you're like, oh, I wouldn't eat this all the time, but like I really enjoy this. And just eating what you want because you want to eat it, knowing that you're going to wake up gassy, bloated, skin breakouts, diarrhea, like all of these things. Like, if you're eating like trash,
you do.
You do.
You
know if you're eating like trash. And the more you eat like that, the more your body is going to crave that. So intuitive eating works when you're eating foods that are nutritionally sound for your body. Like if you're eating protein and veggies and fruits, and then you realize like, oh, grandma brought out cut up strawberries and fruit with Cool Whip. I would love to eat that. Give yourself permission to have some of it. Like eat that too if you want it. It's not like
Cool Whip's not the problem. No. It's the mindset that you have around Cool Whip that's the problem.
Right. Yeah. And so, giving yourself that freedom of like, hey, I eat a really well balanced diet. So a couple chocolate chips on my granola is not going to sabotage me. It's actually going to allow me to have this moderate lifestyle of like, I want to eat chocolate every day, and this gives me a space to do it that feels like I'm getting in my nutrients while I'm also eating the chocolate that I want, right?
Absolutely.
It's all about finding that balance of like, I'm not treating my body like a garbage disposal anymore. I'm allowing my body to realize there is a time and a space for foods that I enjoy and I love, and I don't have to shove it all in or sneak it or hide it or have that scarcity mindset around it. I can eat in a way that feels good, and I can enjoy if my kids bake something and I can try a little bit of that, or I can enjoy going on vacation and having some indulgence here and there because, that feels fine. I don't have that shame and guilt anymore around those foods.
Yep. And that is moderation mindsets.
Yeah. It's so much more freeing. It's so much more freeing.
It really is actually so much more freeing than constantly yo-yoing, swinging back and forth between the all or the nothing with the scarcity mindset.
Yeah. And I tell people all the time, I would rather be 5 to 10 pounds heavier and enjoy eating the way that I eat than to be, working on being skinny and not being allowed to eat anything or have the guilt and the shame that I used to feel, or just being so bogged down with like everything is constantly being calculated and, I'm not able to like even function because all I can think about is which foods am I going to avoid? Can I not go to this party because I know I'm going to eat something, or can I not do this? Like, it was too much. It's too much. And so when you can just like have that food freedom and learn that, get in your protein, get in your fiber, get in the foods that are good, and treat your body well.
It's life-changing.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And it starts with your mindset around food, how you view food, what it means to you. Are you someone that does the binge restrict cycle around vacations or weekends or whatever it might be?
I think you talked about food journaling. I think that does help, or even just kind of keeping track of what you're eating and then writing notes of like, I ate Reese's peanut butter cups today and I found myself that I couldn't stop eating them. And then just being really honest with yourself, like why couldn't you stop eating them?
Did I feel like I couldn't stop eating them because I was sitting here thinking this is bad, I shouldn't be eating them, and so I'm going to finish them all now then they're going to be gone and they're going to be out of the house and they won't be a temptation anymore and I'm not going to eat them again. Well, when you're thinking that while you're eating them, guess what? It's going to be a heck of a lot harder to moderate. But when you're instead like, I really enjoy Reese's peanut butter cups, I had a nutrient-dense lunch and or dinner, I'm going to give myself a serving.
Yeah.
What does that serving look like? And you know what? If I want to have this again tomorrow, it's okay. I can, even if it's a Tuesday night.
Right.
And over time, you will retrain your brain.
Yeah.
And you will begin to feel more satisfied with a serving, not a binge episode of Reese peanut butter cups.
Yeah.
Just takes practice. Got to be willing to put that hard work in. It can be really helpful to have a coach there to support you along the way, because it is like a very fluid process. I can remember in the beginning, I was like super excited when I learned about these approaches and these mindset shifts with food. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do all. That's kind of my MO. Like that's who I am, type A. I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right.
Yeah.
Going kind of hot. And I was like, oh, wow, this is actually a little harder because those habits, those mindsets were so ingrained in me for so many years from a lot of different sources. Right. Yeah. And it took time and practice and setbacks and then getting back on track and then forgiveness of myself if I didn't do it perfectly. Yeah. And then just time, patience, consistency.
It's a journey.
Yep, yeah. It is. And I would say, it took years.
Yeah. And I don't know if you do, I still find myself like every once in a while falling into that 100% and being like, whoa, feeling like, girlfriend, bring yourself back to it.
We just came off vacation and I indulged more than I normally ever would. And I as we were driving home from it, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to get back at it. And I was like, whoa, Tabitha, normal human experience, and you enjoyed yourself. You don't need to do anything like extreme. And I just kind of talked myself through that. And it's just a healthier way to live. Yeah. I think it's a better way to live.
Yeah, it's freeing.
And I think that you're worth the time and investment to get yourself to a better place mentally and emotionally.
And if you're a mom, to model that for your family or a dad or whoever you are. If you're a parent, modeling that for your kids is going to help them in the long run because they're not going to fall into those patterns and be like, no, that's just life. That's just how we eat. It's normal.
Yeah.
It can be really helpful for them.
So if you feel like you're struggling with this and this speaks to you, you're not alone. And you absolutely have the power to change that.
Yeah.
Because our mind is strong and you can do it.
You're just resilient.
Takes time. Thanks for spending your time with us. If you found this podcast helpful, we would love for you to share it with your friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe on your podcast platform. If you have nutrition or fitness questions you want answered on future episodes, we would love to hear from you. You can submit these questions to our email, thenutritionrevolutionpodcast@gmail.com, and follow us on Instagram @thenutritionrevolutionpodcast.